Yes. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I've been informed that it is 9 o'clock. Therefore, we will open the meeting for the Waupaca County Law Enforcement Committee for Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Has everything been posted properly, Tim? All right. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Roll call has that all of the committee members are present. We are going next to the agenda approval. At this point in time, I want to point out a change in the agenda and that the area that we have listed as both. I'm requesting that move up at the top of the agenda items just after public comment. So can I have a motion to that effect, please?
I make the motion to approve that way.
Second. Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda as changed. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any contrary? So moved. Minutes from the previous meeting. I have noted that Supervisor Earl's name is properly written this time around. And I thank Kim for her diligence for staying on top of those things. Do you have any additions or corrections for the minutes of the previous meeting? Hearing none, we will accept a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Johnson, so moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there a second?
Mark second.
Mark seconds. Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion regarding minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any contrary? So moved. We have public comment. Is there anyone here? Thank you. Is there anyone here from the general public that wish to make a statement or comment of any kind? Seeing none, we'll move on to the oath. Sure, you're up. Coming. I'd like to introduce co-authors. Mary McCuskey.
Brendan Muskie. Stu, we want to change your name. Gentlemen, if you could, yeah, that's good. Raise your right hand. And repeat everything after me except for repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brendan Muskie,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply
that I will
with the Constitution of the States,
of the United States,
Constitution and laws of the state of Wisconsin,
Constitution and laws of the state of Wisconsin,
the charter laws and ordinances of Waupaca County,
charter laws and ordinances of Waupaca County,
rules and regulations of Waupaca County Sheriff's Office,
rules and regulations of Waupaca County Sheriff's Office,
and the law enforcement code of ethics.
and the law enforcement code of ethics.
And I will faithfully discharge
Faithfully discharge
the duties of my office as patrol deputy
duties of my office as patrol deputy
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All I'm gonna say for the one spouse that's here, and you can tell it to your family. As you guys protect and serve us, we in Waupaca County protect and serve you as well. And then don't forget that, okay? Thank you. Congratulations.
Boys.
Yeah.
Man. Good.
Good.
Somebody's got help, right? Jared.
Everyone goes.
I know, I haven't seen how well other people have fared on that list.
Good luck on this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I assumed she was on
Congratulations.
there. Thank you, thank you.
Running. We started.
Okay, so-
Congratulations, thanks. How do you know?
Well, that's actually.
Thanks, guys. You're dismissed. Enjoy, stay safe.
Right.
And that, very good day.
Then we make up.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we will move on to review of our bills. Any questions, any comments? Looking through on the bill.
You look on page 5, with the drive team. They finally got their drive suits.
Yes.
So now they're doing some training and, some of them expenses over the years, so. Took almost a year to get that.
issue report on file, and it was a very good article you had. Yes. Corrections.
Rather than speak on the numbers. So some kind of piggyback on Kevin with the employee updates. So wanting to share except the applicant interest, that's kind of lacking on our end a little bit. The one we got from Share is doing well. Sounds like he'll be off next week. The one that will be getting introduced today should be down here shortly. Start on the 21st. I got one starting at the end of the month. We're still 4 short and applications are barely trickling in yet. We did have one individual that's getting off from the Marines in December. So when he was home, we interviewed with him. So that's a possible candidate so at some point down the road. I guess with that, with running short, we're still, like I said, the 4 short, we're 7 with those in training. Staff has been working a lot of extra overtime. We're kind of running short in some areas, so it's putting a stress on them also on both sides of it. You know, they're not able to help it as much as they want, but yet there's more work while you're here also. So we're trying to think of ways we can try and recruit and retain and work with personnel. And all we can do is continue to move forward and see what we can come up with. Just a place or it's a job that a lot of people don't want to do anymore. Once weekends, nights, holidays, and stuck in there dealing with inmates. Always open to ideas and direction, I guess.
Keep in mind, state corrections has increased their pay $5 an hour. So what you're gonna get is, why would I go to a county jail to work state corrections and make a lot more money with state firemen being protected?
Do they pay?
We wanna
both
be.
sides? Do they pay employer and employee side?
Protected.
The state?
State does.
The state does?
The state does, and they're starting out at $33 an hour. And then the trickling effect is where normally you may get someone from Share or someone else that may want to come here. Now, those people are probably going to go to a place like that.
Right, granted.
Right. So we not, you lose, you may not see directly here possibly, but you're going to see some other ones that you might gain it down the road.
So let's ask ourselves, do we want to be those people that we have no employees, or we want employees? Gotta think about that. Because everybody's competing for the same people.
Yeah.
We raised ours $5, Adams County raised it 10.
Yeah, everybody
There is
wants to
no,
keep.
there is no limit. So the point is, manage and run our operations. Facility we have here. Do you want to do it, or don't you want to do it? Because then we'll get to a point where we'll have to start shipping out our inmates and paying $1.2 million a year. So that's the question we gotta ask. Would we rather have status quo, pay our people? That protected status is huge. There's other corrections facilities, counties that pay it already.
Don't we, I thought we passed a motion that we would, this committee.
I don't think so.
I thought I made that motion at one point that I asked you if we talked about it.
We need the definite numbers on what it would cost.
Oh,
Then it'd be more of the budget.
They're working on that. And
Yeah.
our district attorney had just did her little magic. As well, for some of us, calculator magic.
That's
Um,
$33.
In
Yeah.
state legislature, he's still in caucus or something, trying to figure out the exact language of that to fit all the 72 counties, actually.
But the point was $68,000+.
That's at the $33 an hour starting salary.
$68,000. Doesn't include overtime and.
What is our pay scale? What are we talking about?
517 or 25.
Yeah, it's just over $25.
Yeah.
Same thing we pay our water control.
52,000
Okay.
and some change.
Really? Well, the budget is coming up, so we'll be doing some talking on that. So if you can get information pertinent,
I've been talking with Mandy's.
Yeah.
Mandy, she's been dealing with Heidi, so hopefully at some point here we get some more definite numbers for you and other ideas of how to try and recruit. And get people to apply here. I mean, women that's been the hard part also. Where we're we lose too many more, we're not gonna force, senior female officers to go to night shift. Just because they have a female on nights to work with the females for pat downs, everything else. We had a couple times where we had to have patrol on standby because we couldn't have anybody, have a female working certain hours.
First time in my career where we did not have a female officer working our shifts.
The balance of personal
That's where
life,
we're
giving
at.
people time off and also taking care of them.
Gather your information so we can talk intelligently
Yeah.
when budget time comes.
Don't take no for an answer.
Yeah. There's a gentleman here that has a bigger goal in his vocabulary.
Are we doing anything, just ask the question, I know when I've talked with people who are recruiting, like for the hospital, for example, they'll take them on a tour of the community surrounding the hospital, nice places they might want to live, where the schools are, parks, things like that, to try and entice them to want to move here if they want to grow families. Is that something that's part of your recruitment?
Any of us have that part of it. It's just general discussion, but right now we can't give people apply. So.
Because just comparing apples to apples, I mean, Waupaca County versus like Adams County. I mean, come on.
And on the patrol level, I have been doing that personally. At the same time, I'm starting to see that other agencies are starting to step up their game. And we're getting less interest from agencies already also because of improvements made at other agencies to increase wages, increase benefits, to get the people to stay. So.
They're putting a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
Being creative, I think. They'll end up being a difficult choices that the board will have to make regarding what are we going to do to ensure that we have a adequate staffing for all of these areas. Any other questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Captain.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing at all. You gotta do better, but the thing of it is, the problem is, and you all know, we're dealing with public funds here, taxpayers' dollars. And we're dealing with levy limits the state puts on us. You can only raise so much. We go by the net new construction, which only allowed us 187,000 more last year. And Waupaca County doesn't have a lot of net new construction. So it's a problem, but I agree with you. I don't know, I haven't heard anything in the shared revenue now that was the governor opened up, what it's gonna mean to Waupaca County.
It's supposed to mean it's for service, law enforcement, EMS.
How much is it? That's
It's
what.
supposed to be quite some time, quite a bit of money more. So I think it's gonna relieve some pressure on it.
Over many years, it's actually went down.
We discussed that.
And, but that's what we're anxiously waiting for, how much that's gonna mean. It's gonna help a lot
For our budget.
yes. So,
Yeah.
enough said.
And we want to kind of, we see what, I don't know if anybody realizes what's happening in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I mean, they're looking at adding another tax to the
Yeah.
city. So, yeah, we got to be real careful if we start increasing, where that money's coming from. So just throwing that out there.
Challenge. Very much so.
Well, I think I don't know if I don't want to get political, but we could talk to our legislators too, to say maybe it's important to be attentive to shared revenue rather than sending, tax breaks. Instead of tax breaks for certain people. I think we're better off once they have that money in the budget. There are a lot of things we could do with it, not just control by like state parks, there are all kinds of needs, roads, there are all kinds of
But
things to
it
do with
might
it.
be, what I've been hearing, allocated, is got to use that specifically for something, the increase.
Yeah, they want to micromanage it.
Comes down to the basics of who wants to do public service anymore. And how do you attract it? All I can do is start. Point open. More money or benefits.
Well, everybody's short of employees. I mean,
You can't make it.
I was
Make
thinking
more
it'd be
people.
different.
You know, it's a struggle. It's a balance.
So. Budget time, we'll make sure we have our facts for us so we can make a good plan. Detective division?
Yes, we did 6 warrants monthly June. We quoted Stephanie Pedersen to fill the last detective sergeant position. And we currently have an open drug investigator spot. We do have 2 drug investigators. One, Alan, directly back to control. We have 1 open spot. I'm discussing the future of that spot with Carlin right now. I'm either filling it or what other options.
Any questions or any comments by the supervisors? We'll place that on file. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Patrol.
Patrol monthly activity report, June 2023. I'll give this year's numbers. 9 reportable crashes, 0 fatalities compared to 0 a year ago. 13 vehicles involved in the 9 crashes, 5 people were hurt, and 1 of the crashes involved impairment. Year-to-date numbers, reportable crashes 180 compared to 200 a year ago, so a little bit lower than last year. Fatalities, fatality crashes, 0 so far this year. We were up to 3 last year. Traffic arrest citations, warnings, etc. 382 for a yearly total of 2,345 compared to 343, 2,349 last year. So the year-to-date numbers are tracking almost exactly as last year. However, the OWIs or drunk driving arrests, we had 20 for June, yearly total of 143, which is considerably up, all but double from last year's of 11 for June and 77 year-to-date numbers last year. K-9 involvements, 29, 135 year-to-date, 7 and 111 last year. There were no SWAT callouts. Couple personnel issue is, well, you saw them here earlier during the oath, Brendan Muskie and Ryan McCuskey, the 2 dark-haired gentlemen, they got off of training in June and they're on their own now. Officer Deputy Butterbrodt was earlier than that. We just got him in now, but that still leaves us with 2 openings in patrol. We're working on that slowly. Nothing goes quick. So that is my report.
Very good. Mr. Kemp.
Just for information, I'm sure you explained this before, but so like Mr. Muskie worked for the Waupaca.
Yes.
City of Waupaca, and now he joined us. What type of training did they have to go through with us other than?
Same with McCuskey. He worked for the PDO, the back of P. They go through our whole field training officer training program again. They go through our whole training.
And that consists of?
Pretty much everything we sent our trainers to a 2-week-long training on how to be a trainer. It goes from everything, how we do our paperwork, state laws, even though most of them should know that, testifying, everything. It goes through the gamut. And it's anywhere from 3 to 4 months long.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions by supervisors? If not, we'll place it on file. Thank you again for the report. Records division.
Just what you see is what we have here. I don't really have anything to add.
Put that on file. Any questions for Kim regarding that? Chief Deputy report then. Carl.
One thing I have, for a couple of things. The next set on detective division, we did have a night with interdiction, drug interdiction. It was out on Highway 10. I always, in my younger days, I always thought, I always knew, even the patrol days into detective days, doing surveillance and all that other stuff, the amount of drugs, I know it maybe a subject that's slowing down about the enforcement of drugs, but Highway 10 is the main corridor through this county that drugs travel. I mean, doing surveillance and other things like that, and Highway 45, all the way from county line to county line is the main corridor also, but we were out on Highway 10. I was happy to see that, and that we were doing enforcement, and that is, it takes a lot of personnel to do it. The dogs were out and everything. So, and state patrol, yeah. So the other thing is, when we're mentioning the budget, it's budget season. I got my packet. As far as just short highlight from June coming into July, we really don't have any major capital, I mean, like major projects that we had in past years as far as carpeting project, 911 center or anything. Basically, it's fine tuning what we do have. Cars are going up. We got to look at what state bids are. You know, we allocate 5% each year, but we really got to look at it a lot closer because we got blindsided with these cars and just the supply issues with our squad cars. We're also looking, I'm trying to get some pricing on safeguarding the process that we do in our evidence garage as far as getting some pricing on cordoning off areas that are sensitive as far as packaging or whatever the case may be with our equipment. So we're looking at that, and the weapons are, I gotta get a clear perception on what we're looking at as far as these are handguns and upgrade on that. But I'll keep the law enforcement committee appraised what we're doing all the way up to the final budget and everything else. Hopefully give you some better numbers on that. But the good thing I noticed in what Heidi did, and it's always, I think we have a better relationship. It's infrastructure. There's a paragraph in there about infrastructure as far as electronics, or what we deal with all divisions in this in the county entity. And I appreciate working with Brent as far as pretty much this whole department runs on the infrastructure of our network and everything else. So I think that's an extra added thing in there, and she wants clear numbers and information on what we're looking at. So I'm trying to put together that also and talk to Brent, because I know in detective division, our ICAC, we're looking at some more support as far as servers and the capacity of what goes on with the ICAC divisions. But hopefully I can give you a little clearer picture on what we're really looking at. But there's no real major capital that we're looking at this time right now, which I kept the budget and the sheriff's kept the budget under. Hopefully we can do it again. So thank you.
Any comments, questions, Mr. Kevin?
Sorry, I have another question. You think, Mr. Chair, that he should be introduced to the evidence technician? I know what you call her, but I know I was on the committee that hired her, but I haven't heard a word from that department or her at all. I think the new supervisor should actually meet her.
So she's actually in Kakana, exploring their evidence processing area right now with one of our detectives to get some ideas to present to you. She went to Appleton and Grand Chute yesterday, and the goal is to meet with somebody here, kind of give an idea on what we're looking at, what other agencies are doing, and then present that and get a bid for a remodel. I know the floor is pretty much shot, the garage. So yeah, she's in Kakana right now.
Okay,
Well, we'll introduce her next month.
whatever, but I haven't seen her since I interviewed her.
It'd be good to hear about that. Yeah. I gotta say, in 20 years I was down in that division, she did a remarkable job. Whereas grading it up and coming into it, I mean, it was unbelievable. From the old jail to this one. Yeah. The old sheriff's office to this one, It's spotless in there.
Here.
Yeah.
She and I have been working really closely to work on organizing, disposing of things that can be disposed of. And
Yeah, it's a major good thing, major change. She can.
Very good. Any other comments, questions, or anything? Okay, sure, you're on board.
First thing I'd like to do is stand up here, Eric Renly, for you corrections on it. Eric, why don't you tell us about yourself and why you wanted to work here?
Well, I'm born and raised in Scandinavia, Wisconsin here. Went to school in Iowa and then went to Fox Valley Tech for criminal justice, went to the police academy at Fox Valley Tech. And then after that, worked at Fox Valley Metro for a little while, before coming to work for the sheriff's office here, which is where I wanted to be kind of the whole time, in the first place. So, when the opportunity came up that the jail was hiring, I made sure to jump on that, and I'm happy for them to offer me the position to work here. So now here I am.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Oh, Kevin Will County Supervisor and Chairman of this committee.
Kat Turner, I'm the district attorney.
Dick Kaplan, the county board chair.
Tom Johnson, supervisor, member of the committee.
Cindy Hardy, supervisor.
Lee Muck, supervisor.
Rick Erdl, supervisor.
Thanks for coming, Eric.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And which Granley are you, Eric?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Andy Grenley's boy.
Okay,
Smokey is my grandpa.
sure. Well, there goes Smokey.
Yes. Do the eliminations. And Sandy. Very good. All right, Sheriff, what else do you have?
Oh, we had the car show and that went well. I don't think we had big incidents with stolen truck, right?
It was moved. We found it within 24 hours.
Actually, just a little ways from where. So, but the owner didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
That's what we believe.
So that's over with, and we have a Broad Friday coming up for K-9 first Friday in August, so hopefully you guys can all attend. We have a pile of checks from the golf line. I'm not gonna read them all because it takes all day. And 1,920. All sponsors and. But I also decided that I move to the RFP. RFP for the body cam.
That's your report.
Yeah.
Do as you will.
So we did open up. June 20th at 15 p.m. 6 people who submitted RFPs for body cams, which of course were approved by your fund. We've ultimately decided to go with Digital Ally only because currently that's what we have. Digital Ally squad cameras. It makes sense to go with and we've been testing, how many, 2 or 3?
One body camera for almost 4 months.
Yeah, we've been working with the company, tweaking it to for us to work with us, and it's working out well. Now, the bid shows 38. We had a bid all across the board for 38. We don't need 38 because of course we have already.
But the vehicle system, yes.
So the cost is, their total cost was 383, 450, some change. But it really is going to be broken down to that 200,000 that we spoke of into the ARPA funds, and that'll cover that. So that's the one we want to accept. If you guys would accept that, that'd be great. I think it's on, we have a form that you guys got to sign, right? You gotta make a motion.
Are you looking for a motion?
Well, I got a question. So we don't have to go with the lowest bid.
No,
We can pick and choose whatever we want.
correct. If Digital Ally wouldn't have submitted a bid, we would have been stuck with going with a facility or with a company that we don't even have. So we would have to go back and ask for another 200,000 in ARPA fund.
We're able to incorporate
Yeah,
when we currently have some equipment with that company.
we still gotta put it out for RFP to be fair to everybody, right? We can ultimately pick the highest, the lowest, the in between, whatever. Or,
Yeah.
now again, it's up to the committee here to accept it, so if you accept it, then we would have to go back to square one.
Start over.
Are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chair?
We have a motion to accept the RFP 23-010-23 body worn camera bid given to Digital Ally. Is there a second to that?
Already second.
Motion made and seconded to accept this bid. Any further discussion on this?
And then again, the two options, but I see a couple bids have two options. Option one, option
I
two.
don't know why they submitted a second option.
So I can briefly touch on that. Some of the other options. And for all the research that I've done, a lot of companies now are having like a subscription service compared to you but purchasing the equipment. There's several benefits of doing it each way. Some of the warranties were different. Some of the equipment would be replaced on like a scheduled basis. The option one is the outright purchase of the equipment. It's from the things that I've read and research is the safest way to go about that decision for, it sounds like the subscription things, those subscriptions, they can basically willy-nilly change some of their standards and some of the things they go with. And if you subscribe to them, now you're stuck with them. So,
Very good question.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and the cameras themselves are super cheap. But yeah,
correct.
It's the storage facility, right?
Storage and base of the capability to work with the other equipment is where they get you.
Okay.
Have you talked to Brent to the IT, do, you know,
So this
the
is-
background, that
This
is
is kind
compatible
of,
to what we need?
this is kind of separated from IT. There's different, I mean, as you see, there's different companies out there. Some of these other companies, they all have their place in time with what works for a certain agency. Like one of the big things with some of the body cameras is how they're uploaded and how they're charged. Many manufacturers use a docking station. That would not work for us. We can't put a docking station in each vehicle that holds 15 cameras, which that's the option some of these have. So they're designed to be stored the camera here. When our guys check on, they're going from their home to a domestic. Now, if they're leaving their body camera here, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So there's just some of those things and some of these options that are out there that they submitted a bids, but their equipment would not work for the sheriff's office. Now, in reference to the question with Brent, this is completely cloud storage. This is where we were already moving from our internal storage to this system to begin with. So it's kind of, I don't say disconnected from Brent, disconnected from Brent.
And I think you must have picked up on Digital Ally is our squad, our present squads, right? Correct. The cameras in the squads right now.
and that's, you know, if we would have started with taser squad cameras, you know, 5 years ago, then we'd be set, but buy all that equipment, we're talking. Axon is 452,000 just to get started. So,
Some of these other companies that I looked into a little bit, they have a camera with an exposed wire that's the size of a toothpick. You get in one fight and that camera's getting ripped off that wire. And then, now you're talking another $500 unit that you're gonna have to purchase because of damage. Yeah, you can ask for restitution, but are we gonna be getting that money either? So some of these options, I don't wanna say that's not quality equipment, but it would not work for us.
So the officer is in charge of recharging his camera.
cause you know, some of these,
Sense.
some of these police departments, they don't have take-home cars, they just come to the office and they get their taser, they get their body cam, and they get all their equipment they need. In the car they go, that whatever car they're assigned that day, here we're kind of a different animal. We're ready to go as soon as we check in, so.
So these officers inside the building, you have to have them, or we'll have them, or don't have them. Just a question.
Right now, we're looking at doing basically the patrol level. That's who utilizes our in-car systems also. So basically, if they're assigned to an in-car system, they will be getting that body camera system. They also work hand in hand. So say you activate your squad lights to stop a vehicle, turns on your vehicle camera, it also activates the body camera. So that's a big plus to having, again, the same system compared to having. So now you stop your traffic stop, you turn off that system, it's gonna turn off both systems. They call it tagging. So every time you create a video, you have to do something with it. You know, we need to keep it, dispose of it. This all works in conjunction. So now you go with another system, now you're doing it 2 times instead of 1. It opens up a can of worms. So.
I'm just asking.
Yep.
Oh, no, never had a question.
Very good question. Yeah.
Good questions, Rick. And we, we're still developing our policy too, that we, for our office, in conformance with all state statutes.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good thing. And Tom, thanks for bringing it up. And I'm glad that the ARPA fund was available.
All right, any other comment, questions on this? We do have a motion that we are going to accept the award, the bid to Digital Ally to provide for the body worn camera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any contrary? So moved. I believe, Kim, what we have here is what we've done before is you basically put down the motion, the second motion, and the approval of the bid.
Yep.
So we don't sign anything beyond that. Okay. On that, I think protective status, I've asked that that would be put on, so in case we have any further discussion on that, but do we have anything particular, Sheriff? Very check that out. We need more information. Medical examiners report.
All right, for June, we had 46 natural deaths, 1 accidental, 3 suicides. 0 homicides, no undetermined, no pending, no COVID, 1 stillborn, 22 were buried, 28 cremations, 1 stillborn, for 51 total.
Any comments or questions from supervisors?
I do, and I'm sure you know that the validated firm was sold to Everett's. Okay,
Do that months ago.
did you?
I keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I know, I remember it's owned by here, coffee.
Nick, did you buy it?
Oh, I love my license.
No, and the guys are trying to decide what they're gonna do. Right now, they're gonna run both for all of them,
You had a press release there.
yeah.
On Facebook yesterday, they put out a
Mhm.
alert that they will be running both of them in Clintonville. They'll be only using the one on the north end of Marion and the one in Tigerton. Yeah, that was on Facebook as of yesterday, so. They're starting
And just so
to-
you guys know, the 3 suicides that we had,
Yeah.
they were all in 1 week,
Okay.
all in 1 week, within 5 days.
Related to what you think?
They're unrelated. It was just June, the beginning of June.
Any
was just
veterans
a
in
bad
there?
week.
that
No.
you being in the service, on magazines, suicides are the big issues. Like,
Correct.
Anything else for a medical examiner? Okay, so on file then. Supervisors have any reports or something they've gone to for training or anything? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we move to adjourn.
Done, seconded, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
One thing I forgot, does anyone on the staff or sheriff department want to be my guest on Wednesday, on my radio show?